Let's do the show, yo! As they say somewhere, somebody says that. No. What do you mean, no? Isn't it? No. Oh. They're old. That's like passe. That's like old generation. Am I showing my age?
You're so out of time. You think we're in the 80s when we're in the millenniums.
The millennium. How many different millenniums are you guys in? That's what I want to know. What do you mean?
I mean, aren't we like referred to as like Generation X?
I don't know what you're referred to.
No, that's not it.
That's your parents was Generation X. You know what? I don't even know. I'm losing track anymore. Here's what I do know. We are way out on the digital edge. Today, audio production, of course, as we've been doing for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. We are teaching the kids the fundamentals of audio production, and we're going to let them loose in the professional broadcast production studio here very shortly in the coming weeks to go ahead and begin their own radio-level podcast, and we're excited about that. One more thing that we need to do in our Audio Production 101 unit. Pull up that split screen, please. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about safety in the studio, and we're going to have... there's that vMix call, see? We're actually going to go into the studio with our vMix call mobile cam, and we're going to demonstrate in live time. You want to pull up the NDI source here in the split screen, please, from the desk. You want to change that source, guys? And then when I go into the studio, you're going to pull up my mobile cam. And Jaden here is going... Oh, wait. Jaden over here is going to demonstrate for us the live setup of the condenser microphone that we're going to go over in the lesson today. So, guys, please pull up this in the split screen, the NDI source. Graham, you want to help her with that? All right, what are we waiting for, guys?
How are you, Dante?
Let me go see what's going on. What's going on? Let's get it. There we go. Awesome. Graham and Nalia come through. The Digital Edge live audio production, part 11. Okay, what are we going to be talking about today? Let's go ahead and pull up the next slide. Dante, today we're going to be talking about a particular type of a microphone and studio setup utilizing a large diaphragm condenser studio microphone. And what is our goal today? We're going to achieve several tasks. My students now, without the... You want to kill that music, please, John, as we're getting into the lesson? Go back, please. We're a little bit too much information here. We're going to have to do a show sometime on what is our program of study. What are our programs of study? And how, hold on one second. Hey, you guys need to make sure that while I'm talking, I have vMix live, vMix call open here. We're not sending that audio through the show right now, are we? That was the problem this morning. Okay, it's muted until we go live in the booth. Awesome. We did the show early this morning. The kids did a great job, knocked it out of the park as far as the production. But then when we went into the audio booth, they didn't have the microphone on the show muted or on the vMix call muted, and we had two streams going with a delay, and it was pretty unintelligible. So we're going to go ahead and do this again today in the afternoon for the benefit of the kids in the morning and for our audience at home. So in the future, I want to do a show that actually addresses what our program of study is and what task-based learning is. I think that would be really awesome to demonstrate in live time, have you guys pull up your portfolios and explain how you meet your tasks. So when we refer to POS, what are we talking about? It's called our program of study. And the state of Pennsylvania as instructors gives us the guidelines that we need to teach in order to meet the state-required conditions for the authorized CTE program. But we as instructors have a lot of latitude to be able to grow our program beyond that and add a bunch of additional content. I've done that over the past 11 years with my previous students. Now, so it's a much expanded program over than what the state has mandated me to be able to teach in web, multimedia, and information resource design. So our second and third and fourth year students are still on that old task list, which was expanded, had a bunch of additional tasks on it. The new students that just started this year, the state has issued a new task list. So we're starting over with our new kids that are going to graduate 4 years from now with a new task list that has less number of tasks on it, okay? We haven't updated and added the new tasks yet from the old task list to the new kids. We'll be doing that starting next year, and then these kids are going to go ahead and address those in the future. So that's why you see level 1 students are working on one task and level 2, 3, and 4 are working on the other. They're all doing the job, and they're all getting the experience, but as far as entering the grade in the grade book, those are the tasks that they're getting credit for, if that makes any sense. We'll do a whole show on that explaining this later, I think, in the year. That'd be valuable, especially for parents watching. How do my kids get graded on this new task-based learning system? All right, so for right now, let's go ahead and get out of the PowerPoint, and we're going to pull up the lesson plan, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. Okay, scroll on up if you would, please. What are we going to do today? We're going to explore our objective. Go down, and you want to bring that up full screen, please, so the audience can see that at home. And what are the tasks that we're working on? The POS task level 1, this is our freshmen. Their job is to use various software programs associated with graphics and interactive media. Part of interactive media is audio production. So we're going to apply this lesson that you're doing to that task and give you credit for it if you achieve it successfully. Understood? Pretty simple. What's the software we're going to be using? What do we have in the audio booth, Dante?
Reaper.
Exactly.
If I remember correctly.
Absolutely. The Digital Audio Workstation and the software interface between the Yamaha digital mixer, which we've learned about, and, of course, Reaper as the software package. Task levels 2 and 3, you guys are going to get credit for these additional tasks. 1910, students must demonstrate the technology safety practices. Those safety practices are going to be outlined in the to-do list here in terms of setting up the microphone correctly and making sure the cables are managed correctly and that counterweights are set on the stand so that it doesn't tip over and cause damage to oneself or to a guest or to the equipment itself. Students are going to demonstrate understanding of the physics of sound and audio reproduction. So upperclassmen, you guys have done this unit before. I'm going to expect you're going to be adhering to proper mic technique and really zooming in on making sure that the microphone is used correctly to get good quality audio without any sort of clipping or distortion. Your students are also going to demonstrate knowledge in the process of basic recording and sound reinforcement, the process of setting up, tearing down, and mixing and recording your quality audio. Students are going to analyze recorded live audio or live audio for technical quality. Did you meet the criteria of capturing the audio with no distortion? And there's a couple different ways you can tell. You can hear the distortion. And visually, what does a waveform look like, kids? Remember, we go back into the Wayback Machine. What does an audio waveform look like in a digital audio workstation when clipping exists? Anybody remember?
Doesn't it like spike all the way to the top?
Well, it goes
sync all the way to the bottom.
It goes to the very top, but what does the waveform look like? You want to pass the mic over? Jackson has an answer too. What do you think?
Doesn't it look squiggly and chaos?
Nope. Jaden?
I don't know how to describe it, but it's just flat.
It's flat, exactly. The peaks get cut off because it exceeded the dynamic range of the equipment that was being recorded or that in the microphone elements, and it went past that range of pickup and it clipped. And the result of clipping can be what? Distortion, audio distortion, which we do not want. So your job is to get a good, clean, quality audio recorded to using the next task, 1905, demonstrating the ability to use industry-level equipment to record audio onto digital medias. Now, what are we going to record onto today? Well, in my little handy-dandy cell phone, we record to a micro SD card. In a handheld recorder, we record to a full-size SD card. On the digital audio workstation in there, we also record to the computer itself. And what is the media that it's being recorded onto?
Oh God, I don't remember.
What's inside the computer? What kind of storage is inside the computer? Hard drive, exactly. But I'm not going to have you record to the hard drive today. I'm going to have you record across the network in live time to our network attached storage, what we call our 10.50.1.71 box. That's our IP address. There's our network attached storage. You guys are going to serve your content from the digital media audio booth across the IT Academy to the server space and store your content and record it to there. That is what you're going to be demonstrating as upperclassmen getting credit for these tasks. All got it? And we're going to show you in 10 minutes how you're going to do that. We got some academic academic standards as well, industry standards for ISTE that we're meeting, demonstrating. I can't read if you keep, stop. Demonstrating a sound understanding of technology concepts, systems, and operations, okay? The displays or the aids that we're going to be using, keep on going down. Let's go right to the equipment that the kids are going to be using. What is it that you are going, this is all instructor stuff. We don't need to go over this. Right there, materials and steps for performance objective 1. What is the performance objective? Given the studio vocal microphone, a shock mount, a stand, and a mixer, the student is going to correctly plug in and activate the microphone, record a clean basic test voice track, and then tear down the system using proper safety and audio engineering procedures within an allotted time of 10 minutes. Now, the equipment they're going to be utilizing. Once, you want to bring that up full screen, please, so the audience at home can see it. The one studio vocal microphone, in this case, we're going to use an AKG large diaphragm condenser microphone. The shock mount that goes along with that, the microphone stand, an XLR cable, a PC workstation, our Digital Audio Reaper workstation, and, of course, our multi-track mixer as the interface between the microphone and the computer. How is the student going to be assessed? The evaluation is going to be done in what we call a performance review. This assessment is going to be done through a test which addresses specific skills as well as direct observation and student daily log sheet entries. A safety equipment setup quiz on the subject will also be issued. So we're going to have basically a how-to sheet going down. We're going to have a how-to sheet, step-by-step, what you're going to do to set this up, which you can print out and you can practice on your own. Then you're going to do what it is that we're going to demonstrate here for you in the studio over this week. By the end of this week, everybody should have their time to practice in the studio. Then you come and get me and say, ready, Mr. E, I'm ready to take my test. I set the timer for 10 minutes. We make sure you got everything. You go in there and you do your thing behind closed doors and you're done. And when you come out, the equipment should be back in its original state, and you should have the file saved to the server demonstrating all these skills that we're going to walk through today when Jaden goes in there and follows my direction. Okay? So let's go ahead and illustrate this. What is it that we're expecting? At the end of the day, we're going to want to see a clear audio file that contains no audible distortion or noise. Level indicators on your Reaper file show no indication of clipping of any kind, meaning there's no red dots, no red lines in there showing distortion or showing clipping. A cleanly wrapped and stored cable. Proper way of wrapping up an XLR cable. We'll show you how to do that. And you want to make sure that it's cleanly wrapped and stored with your microphone and the peripheral gear. A properly compacted and stored microphone stand. We're going to show you why you want to do that properly and how to do that properly. Of course, the end result, there should be no damage to any equipment, and the microphone should be properly stored in the case that you've been given. Those are your expectations. Do we all understand that? Yes? Excellent. Let's go on down. There's a checklist, and basically what it comes down to, kids, is each one of those criteria to get credit for this lesson, you need to be able to have that checked off as competent. You did it. So if you go down through and you get, 5 out of the 7, you got to go back and do it again until you get it right. They have to be all completed and nailed in order to move along. All right? So what are we talking about? Step by step for the condenser vocal microphone setup and test. This is our large diaphragm condenser. This is our shock mount, our XLR cable, a standard mic stand, And what are you going to do? You're going to select the mic. Well, we're not going to select the proper microphone for the job. We're going to give it to you. You're going to choose, or you're not going to have an option to choose the microphone. We're giving you which one you're going to use. You're going to go ahead and utilize your XLR cable, which will be provided for you, and then the microphone stand. So 1 through 3, all those things are going to be provided for you. You're going to secure the shock mount and the clip mic holder to the stand of choice. You know what? As a matter of fact, I don't think I need to take time to read down through this. Scroll down real quick through, Dante. Bring that up full screen. We have a full how-to, step by step by step by step. Okay? I'm just going to take, for the interest of time, I'm going to get into the studio, and we're going to demonstrate this in live time. Then the kids can come back and print out that lesson and study on their own and practice. Got it? So let's go down a couple quick things in terms of safety that you want to consider. Go down. Safety, safety, safety. For safety, condenser microphone setup considerations. Never, ever scream or blast intense music, sound, or an intense volume sound into a studio microphone until all levels are set and all members of the team are fully ready. Now, when you're recording bands, hey, sometimes somebody's going to get that mic and they're going to let out a scream, man, especially if you're recording rock or metal music, you know. But you want to make sure you're not doing this until the microphone is properly placed, the audio engineer has all the levels set accordingly, and everybody is aware that that intense sound is coming. Why is that important? Dante, what can be the result if somebody screams into a microphone or if somebody is cranking high volumes of music through that thing and people are unaware of it? What could end up happening?
Deafness, damage to the ears themselves,
Absolutely.
maybe even internal like head injury as well.
There can be physical damage can result. Absolutely. So there is a safety concern there. Number 2, damage to the equipment. That one microphone that we got in there cost $500. Trust me, you don't want to be the one that comes to me to tell me that I was screaming into the $500 Rode Broadcaster microphone, Mr. E, and now suddenly it just doesn't sound as good as it did before. No, we're not going to have a pleasant discussion. So treat your equipment gently, and it will last you many, 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 many years. Treat it with respect, okay? So, number 2, be certain that the microphone stands set up on a flat surface, that the booms, all right, bring up the camera there. This is what we're talking about. Bring up my front cam. Bring up my front cam. There we go. There's a standard studio and stage microphone, and we're going to show you how to, or microphone stand, we're going to show you how to set that up correctly. Make sure that the legs are extended correctly and that it is stable on the floor. And then utilizing the boom that keeps the microphone extended out towards the user of the microphone. Making sure that it's counterbalanced correctly and that it's not top heavy so that it doesn't fall over, causing damage to people or to the equipment. Number 3, cables. What is the safety concern? Jaden, what's the safety concern with cables in a studio?
They're just lying around so people can trip over them.
Very good point. You never want to have cables running across where foot traffic is going to be if you can avoid it. If you can't avoid it and you need to have the cables, what do? Dante or Jackson?
We put them under a trip-proof rug of sorts.
You can have them taped down with visibility tape on them.
Excellent. Put your hands together for these two. They nailed it. Awesome. They were paying attention. You can use gaffer's tape, you can use duct tape, or you can use some kind of rug, heavy rug that goes over your cables so people do not step on them and or trip over them. So, you know, a lot of people think in digital media that there's no safety concerns, but there are. Plus, we work with electricity as well, and when we're doing lighting and running cables, we got to get up on ladders. There are some considerations. We're not as dangerous, of course. There's as some of the more industrial program areas, but there are still safety concerns. And every year my students do a general workplace safety program, and we try to augment that and add some things that are specific to our program, like what we're doing today and here. So speaking of in here, let's go ahead and get into the audio booth. But before we do, some real quick news. Pull up our PowerPoint, and let's go to the first bit of news there. There we go. Our career fair, February 28th. We will be broadcasting live. What's that have to do with digital media arts? John, give me some music for the news. Digital Media Arts will be broadcasting live at 1:30 from the gymnasium using our wonderful vMix call system. We'll be down there broadcasting live and doing live interviews for employers and Jeff Tech staff, faculty, and students live at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, February 28th, coming up this Thursday. Next slide. I want to remind you, we just shot our first show with Dr. Philman. Jeff Tech Jumpstart, our Jeff Tech News and Events show. We did that about an hour ago, and it is live now on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. So we want you to tune in. If you missed the live broadcast, check that out in replay. Next one. And special guest is photographer George Hallenbrook, old friend of mine from way back in my day when I was publishing a music magazine 30 years ago. George was my staff photographer and managed all of our photographers and put people out across the city shooting entertainment, live bands, and special events. And she went on to a career of her own, very successful in entertainment photography and in portrait photography. She's coming up from South Carolina, joining us live here on the show Friday, March 1st, The Digital Edge, a live lesson on studio and event photography with photographer George Hallenbrook, live on The Digital Edge. That's coming up this Friday, and we're going to be broadcasting probably a couple times through the day. Now, to the audio booth! And there's Richie and Ball and Keaton. Keaton, you're going to go ahead and get your wish here because I only got a couple minutes to do this. We're not going to preview the podcasting files today. We only got a couple minutes, so let's go ahead and pull up the vMix remote cam. You guys still got me? And you don't need the split screen anymore, guys. Now, John, pull up the volume over here because the kids in here are going to listen to this. I'm gonna kill my microphone. Pull up the vMix call. Full screen, please. There it is. Now, I'm going to kill my microphone, and we're going to go in the studio, and I'm going to walk Jaden through. So you guys should switch off. I'm going to turn off my handheld mic, and I want you to turn on the mic on my cell phone.
I can hear you guys. If you need to comment to me, I can hear you talking to me. Okay?
Wait, so I keep this one on?
Yeah, you guys keep your mics on. Okay? So we're going to come into the audio booth. Jaden's going to be in here with me. All right, so how does this look, guys? We got it? All right, cool. So what we're going to do, let me turn this on so I can hear. Here's what's going to happen. In 10 minutes' time, this is what you guys are going to need to do. Jaden, stand on up. Okay, here's what we got. Our audio podcasting booth. This is the material we're going to be using. You want to hold up the cage there? We got to move quickly because we only got 10 minutes left. So there is our cage, our shock mount. There is, what is this? Jaden? Pop filter. There is our AKG, high quality, large diaphragm condenser microphone. There is our case. Here is
Mr. Ettaro.
our mic stand. Yes.
We can't hear you in here. You're silent. We can't hear you in here. We can hear you.
Well,
from
John
out
needs
there.
to turn. Listen. John needs to turn on the audio on that TV in the studio so you can hear me, and you need to unmute the vMix output on that TV, and he has to turn up the volume so you can hear me. You should be able to hear me just fine. I'm going to go ahead and keep going here. You guys work that out. You can watch this after the fact, and I can demonstrate this offline tomorrow if need be, okay? So we're going to go ahead and keep moving here. This is our wrapped up XLR cable, okay? Now what we're going to do, we're going to have Jaden start out by opening up the mic stand, okay? Tighten that up fully. There you go. Now set that on the floor and spread the legs out fully. Push it down. Okay, now that's stable. We're going to go ahead and we're going to loosen up the sleeve here. Hold that. Pull that up a little. And we're going to tighten this up. Finger tight, not too tight. We don't want to go and strip the threads. This, we're going to bend a little bit this way to angle it to be able to reach the person using the microphone. And we're going to take this thumb wheel here, loosen it. See, this is what I'm talking about. Somebody tightened that way too tight. There we go. Now push that up a little bit. There you go. That's about right. Go ahead and tighten that up. Now we're going to put the cage on. Let's put the microphone stand over here. Put the mic stand over here and take the cage. We pick up the phone. Move a little quicker. Remember, we're under a time constraint. And when you're in here, you are going to have 10 minutes to do this, the complete operation. So we're going to go ahead and tighten that down. There you go. Facing it towards the person who's going to be using it, of course, right? There it is. We're going to take the microphone. We're going to open up these wings on the cage, and we're going to hold the microphone up. Let me see it. Make sure the logo, the emblem, is on the front-facing side toward you. Drop it in there, push it down, and then close it in. There you go. Now we're going to take our shock or our pop filter, pop that on top. We're going to take our XLR cable and we're going to unwind it. Okay. We're going to look at the female end of the cable. Okay. Get that unwound. Time's ticking. Come on, pick it up. Let it fall to the floor. Take the ends up. Okay, we got our female end down there on the floor. Pick that up. Take a look. There are 3 holes on this mic XLR connector. We're going to line those up underneath with the pegs inside the microphone. Go ahead and do that. Line them up. And you're going to push that in until you hear a click. Did you hear the click? Can you pull it out without hitting the release? Then that means it's tight. See, that wasn't the full, it wasn't in there. Push it in until you hear the click. Now, can you pull it out? Nope. Okay, that's in there. There's a little release right there that you pull down to pull this back out. We'll get that in a second. Now, I want you to wrap the mic cable around. Okay, unwind this thing, man. This needs to be cleaner. Look at this. It's a mess. Get it unwound. Okay, hold the phone. Okay, time is of the essence here. We got to move quicker. My goodness gracious. There we go. All right. So we'll show you at the end here how to properly wind this to make sure that this doesn't happen, because that is a mess. This is what we call a rat's nest. And of course, what kind of problems do you run into? Not only wasting time when you have an issue like this, but it's not good for the cable either. You can end up bending and breaking the filaments inside the cable and having to replace $20, $30 cable. Okay, so Jaden, hold this over here. Point the phone to me, or over here. We're going to wrap this around the mic stand. We're going to go down around the base of the mic stand, and we're going to use this clip to clip the cable to the mic stand. We're then going to take this end of the male end of the XLR cable, and we're going to plug it into channel 4 of our mixer over here. We grab this, right here into channel 4. Okay? Making sure that the trim is down to 0 and the channel is unactivated. It's not on. So, Jaden, have a seat there in Reaper. We're going to walk you through what we're going to do to activate this. Now, we're only using this mixer as a bypass. It's just going to go direct in to Reaper. We don't have it set up to be able to utilize the slider or the faders here. We're not going to worry about levels and EQing and all that right now. All we're going to worry about is trim. So I want you to go New Project and do Save As. And in the Dropbox on our server, we're going to go ahead and put his name, Jaden, that's fine. Open that up. And we're going to name that Jaden Practice Mic Setup. And say save. Now what we did was we saved the Reaper profile. We saved the Reaper file to the network. Now we need to make sure that the digital audio wave file is going to go to that network location, which is our digital media. That's our NAS server, our RAID array. So we're going to save the files as he's recording across the network to that location. We go into Options, Preferences, and we navigate to that location. Browse, find your folder that you just set up. Jaden, okay, and do the same for your peak files. Excellent, excellent, okay? Excellent. Now, track, new, insert new, and we're going to go and we're going to arm that as a mono input out from the board channel 4. Excellent, and we're going to activate that and we're going to arm it. Now we have an activated microphone, and Jaden is going to script, which is provided here, and somebody closed it right here. Okay. Yep, they did. They closed it and shut it down. Okay, so here's what it's going to say. Go ahead and hit record. And it is going to say, they're going to say, hi, welcome to the Digital Media Arts program at Jeff Tech, where you can be you. And they're going to hit stop and hit save all. Excellent. And we're going to take a look at that waveform. We see no apparent clipping, good, decent quality waveform, and we got good, clean audio from that. We're going to go up and hit File, Save, Save Project, and we're done. Then we're going to tear this all down. So we're going to do this in return or in reverse. Let's go ahead and, one thing that I wanted to, we're running out of time here. The bell rang and some of the kids have to leave.
Yeah,
The trim here on channel 4 of our mic input needs to be adjusted accordingly if indeed we're getting distortion there in our input on the Reaper Digital Audio Workstation. So we'll demonstrate this again tomorrow. I know we're rushing through this here just for illustrative purposes, though. We're showing what we're going to do. So tomorrow we'll go ahead and do this again for the kids who need it. All right, Jaden, let's go ahead and tear this down. You want to make sure that we're down to 0 there. Microphone is turned off. Go ahead and pull out channel 4, the cable. There you go. And let's wrap that up. We're going to go ahead and unhook this from the microphone. There we go. And remove your mic clip from down there. Pull it off. There you go. Okay. Now, let me show you how to wrap this. Hold this. Okay. Like doing a garden hose. Let the cable fall naturally the way it needs to make it in a circular pattern. It's just going to naturally fall like wrapping up a garden hose. Kind of twist it with your fingers so it lays flat and natural, and then We're going to wrap this around here. And we're going to go ahead and clip these together. Now you got a nicely wound cable. And we're going to place this on the desk. Then we are going to go ahead and pull the microphone out by opening these wings. Pull it out of the stand or out of the shock mount. Take off the pop filter. Place it back in here. Microphone in here where it's protected. We're going to take the shock mount off of the microphone stand. We're going to place the shock mount back in the case. Let's see how that goes in here. And we're going to place a filter here, and we're going to close the case up. We can put the cable in there as well. There we go. Now we got a nice travel companion, safe gear. Our microphone stand, we're going to go ahead and, we're going to make this compact by tightening this up, closing this up, pushing this down, making sure it's all tight so it doesn't wiggle around and jiggle around. We're going to open up that wing nut, and we're going to compress the legs. There we go. And we're going to tighten that up. Now we have a properly compacted and stored microphone stand. And there, back to our starting point. And there we have it. Jaden did this last year successfully, and this is what the students need to do in order to be able to get moving on setting up and utilizing the audio podcasting booth for their own custom podcast that they're going to be doing starting next week on the topic of their choice. There we go. All right, Nalia, what do you think? You got it?
Hi.
There you go. Did you guys? So, were you guys able to get the audio going in through here?
No, but we just quieted down and listened to you because you were loud enough.
Yeah, I'm loud enough you could hear me through the cinder block walls. Who would have thought? Not shocking, though, is it?
No.
No. That's awesome.
It
And
was
again,
convenient this time, though.
we were really doing this mainly for the audience at home and to illustrate what we're doing. Tomorrow, when you guys come in, I'll bring you in there in small groups and demonstrate the whole thing to you over again so you have it down. And if you need one-on-one tutoring, we'll do the same thing. And again, we'll print out the how-to sheet and we'll have you guys practice this until such time as we start that timer you can nail it. Okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Jackson, great job today. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
We love that you're a student here. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you got your voice back.
So am I. I puked it out.
Oh, there you go. Well,
Puked out the infection.
there you go. That's about that purge. I'm hoping that
It's science.
I can avoid that this year. I'm hoping. So we don't want to talk about no gastrointestinal problems here on the Digital Edge. We're going to maintain healthiness.
Science.
Is that a word? Healthiness? I don't know. It is today. All right. You're watching the Digital Edge. Our DJ is gone for the day. So thanks to everybody for helping put together the show. I'm Mr. Ettaro. Thanks to Jaden. Thanks to Dante. Thanks to Jackson. And thanks to Nalia and Graham for running VMix for us. We will be back on Friday with our next episode featuring photographer George Hallenbrook. I am Ettaro, along with
Jackson.
And we are coming to you live from the Digital Media Arts Studio at Jeff Tech in the IT Academy. Peace. See you on Friday.